What is good, everybody? Juliana Page here, and I'm going to dive into a topic that I find extremely interesting, particularly if you are a leader, if you are in management, if you are running your own company, or even if you're a parent or just somebody that identifies as a leader, you're a leader. Because here's the thing, whether you're aware of it or not, you are impacting others by what you think, say, and do, and what you don't do. People can feel that. People are impacted by it. So you are a leader, whether you're aware of it or not. So I find this subject particularly interesting, especially if you're studying leadership or you've seen examples of what you believe bad leadership is, and you really want to strive to be the best leader that you can be. So I am defining this as the power of personal excellence. The power of personal excellence. I know that in my history, I was somebody that grew up believing that being excellent, if you will, is being a people pleaser. It's making sure that other people are satisfied, making sure that you're always serving other people, making sure that other people's needs are met before your own. And to the point of depletion, really, where you don't even recognize what your own needs and wants are or what your true purpose actually is. And that's, in the long run, although there's benefits of that, although people are served, although they're impacted in what we think are good ways, it's not good if it's not necessarily authentic, or you're doing it because you should do it, or it's not even what you're put on this earth to do. That's when it can get a little bit interesting. So I want to uncover what excellence is. Excellence, it's not a gift. It's not a gift. It's not just like some people are excellent and others are not. Some people are born that way and others are not. It's not like that at all. You're not born with excellence. You're not born with it. What it is, it's an attitude that's generated by a spirit. Okay? It's an attitude that's generated by a spirit. Now that lets me know that that's something that's released from within. It's not something that is created from the outside. It's released from within. So you can recognize people that are excellent, but it is not a gift, and you're not born with it, okay? And another thing about excellence is the edge of quality, okay? When we think about quality, when we think about service, this is the edge that's behind that, okay? And the future belongs to those who have an edge on excellence and an edge on service, right? We know that because everybody is selling something. Everybody's selling a product. Everybody's selling a service. But those that have an edge on it are the ones that are going to stand out, okay? Now, here's what excellence is according to the dictionary and a Google search. Excellence is the highest quality. It's not just quality. It's the highest quality. So if there's a scale, it's the highest on that scale. It's a superior standard. So we're not talking bare minimum, just enough, just getting by. It's a superior standard. There's standards, and then there's the superior standard, okay? It's extreme quality. So it's not just like good quality, like I'm satisfied. It's extreme quality, okay? And as you're hearing these words, think about things that you've experienced where there was extreme quality, or there was the highest quality, or where there was like this superior standard that you just, it almost takes your breath away. You can't help but notice. It commands your attention, and it's maximum quality. Okay, so that's what excellence is, just for some clarity there. Now, here's the thing. To work less than excellent in any area of your life, with yourself, in a job, in a relationship, to work less than excellent means that you're working below your true ability. You're working below your true ability and your true potential. You're working beneath that. It will cost you. It will cost you to be mediocre. And in fact, it will cost you what mediocre will save you. So mediocre might save you time. Mediocre might save you money. Mediocre might save you some challenges, right? It's like a quick fix. So it's going to cost you that. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you sacrificing quick fixes for the long haul, for a commitment, okay, for consistency. So check that out when you think about excellence. Again, it's a superior standard. It's not average. It's not mediocre. It's superior. All right. Excellent people. This is big. Excellent people will conquer what mediocre people complain about. Ah, how many of you know that as a leader? Excellent people will conquer what mediocre people complain about. Wow. They will pursue solutions while mediocre and average people stare at problems. They will pursue actively. They will go after, they will run towards solutions while average people, mediocre people will just stare at problems and ruminate on them and get stuck and never change. Wow. Think about that when you're looking to build a team or a tribe or community. Listen to how people talk because it reveals what's in their hearts or the state of their soul, what they're thinking about, what action they're taking or not taking. You can hear that in how somebody talks. It's really interesting. So pay attention. All right. Excellence orchestrates in the mind. Okay. So excellence starts up here. There could even be a desire to be excellent, but it starts in your mind, okay? And then it translates in your speech, all right? And then it demonstrates in your life. So let me break that down a little bit. When we talk about the soul is actually the mind, the will, and the emotions, okay? So in the mind, when you start thinking about what excellence is, when you start meditating on it day and night, when you start exposing yourself to excellence, you'll focus on it. And that will get rooted in your heart. And from there, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. You'll start to speak excellent words. You'll start to prophesy excellence into your life. And then you'll start to demonstrate that in your life because you will behave differently. When you have a new mind, you have new emotion, new energy that you're putting in motion. You have a new standard, right, that you're living by. And you will demonstrate that in how you behave. It will set you apart. Excellence will set you apart, okay? Now, here's the thing. You don't have to ask somebody if they're excellent. I love this because nobody ever has to tell you who they are. They don't have to tell you they're honest. They don't have to tell you they're trustworthy. They don't have to tell you they're organized. They don't have to tell you who they are. They will always, always, always show you. They will always show you. So never go by words. Words are beautiful. People can be charismatic. People can act for a minute, but it is always, always, always their actions in time that will reveal who they are. Okay? So that is huge, 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 huge. So let's talk about this. Excellence is released from the inside, like I mentioned. Excellent people make improvements and not excuses. That's another way that you can identify an excellent person. So they're not going for perfection. They're not going for what other people might think is excellent. They're actually being fueled from within, okay? A leader, here's the thing. A leader competes only with him or herself. So let me say it again. A leader only competes with him or herself. They never compare or compete with anybody else. They're not after this keeping up with the Joneses thing. They have a sense of what excellence is from the inside, from studying it, from meditating on it, from aligning themselves with it. And that's what they're focused on. They're not focused out here on what other people are doing because that's irrelevant to them. They're just competing against themselves, okay? All right, so let's talk about some principles of excellence that you can, if you're not familiar, you haven't been holding yourself to this superior standard, here's some things that you can keep in mind, okay? So number one, excellent people don't settle for average. They don't settle for average, okay? So what that means is it's basically the grave. Okay, let me say this again. It's it's the grave on which excellence is buried. So what does that mean? Being average is literally burying your excellence. You will never tap into your potential. You will never discover the fullness of who you are if you're burying yourself in average. You're digging your own grave, okay? Because you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're dying. So here's the thing. Excellence requires that you stand out, rather than fit in. You don't just get by. You just don't do the minimum of what's required of you. You go above and beyond, okay? And you can never change what you accept. So if you accept average, you will never challenge yourself. You will never grow beyond that. You will never get out of your own limitation and actually discover more of what you can tap into. And the greatest enemy of progress is your last success. The greatest enemy of progress is your last success. So for example, let's say that you're authoring and writing books. Your last book is what you're competing against. How can you write a better one? How can you share more authentically? How can you communicate what's often hard to articulate? How can you do that better? You're always striving for better. That wasn't just like the one and done, right? You're always challenging. So excellent people don't settle for average. Number two, excellent people develop a commitment to excellence. So they understand that they only become more excellent if they're committed to walking out excellence as a lifestyle, okay? So that isn't just, again, I'm excellent here, but not over here. It's a lifestyle. In every area of their life, they are deeply committed to excellence. They're not concerned, again, what other people are doing, but they're committed to excellence, okay? All right. They decide this is the lifestyle they will have. They decide that they will have a lifestyle of excellence. And from that decision, you make choices that align with that lifestyle. You set this standard. The standard is I am committed to excellence, and then other life areas flow from that, okay? And excellent people believe in themselves and they have integrity with themselves. And that's how that happens. I call it integrity momentum, okay? So it's a path of, yes, you're being excellent, you're committed to yourself, but you are in integrity momentum when you're keeping promises with yourself. You build one day at a time, one moment at a time. You're building this excellence, and that becomes your new normal. Like people like to say, that becomes your new normal. All right. Number three. This one is huge. This one is huge. And you really know people who don't demonstrate this. So just pay attention. Excellent people possess ethics and integrity. I remember studying about ethics and morality and all of that stuff from a sociology perspective, in psychology, in becoming a professionally certified life coach, in any area, in ministry. There's got to be a code of ethics and integrity. Okay, now let's talk about this a little bit. Your gift will carry you where your character won't keep you. Wow, wow, wow. Your gift will carry you where your character won't keep you. So here's the thing with that. You can hustle your way. You can push your way and force your way. You can operate in your own strength, but that might open a door for you and get you in front of people, but that won't keep you there. That will not keep you there. So your gift will carry you places where your character won't keep you. So you've constantly got to be working on developing your character. Character doesn't work unless you develop it. Just like a muscle, character does not work unless you develop it. You could be sitting on a gold mine of potential, and you are, right? But you've got to work that out. All right. An example, this is a biblical example, but it's worth studying. So you could do a comparison between Samson and Joseph in the Bible and really see the difference between one who had ethics and integrity and someone who did not, in the different ways that their stories played out because of that. Now, that's not to say that life didn't happen to either of them, but how they stewarded their ethics and their morality impacted how they were able to grow and evolve. Huge, 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 huge. Okay. So it's not a muscle. It's not a hustle. It's actually morality. It's having this moral compass. And that's, again, how you can compete with yourself. You can compete with how well you are living aligned with your values or not. And when you are doing this, you are never in the business of judging and criticizing and comparing yourself to anybody. You are always in competition with yourself. You are not the one that gets to decide what somebody else's moral code is. But if you're a leader, just know that you are called to walk out a higher moral standard, a superior standard than somebody who does not identify with that. And not everybody does. Everybody is a leader. Everybody is creating impact, but there's bad leaders. There's poor leadership. So if you want rich leadership, you've got to develop that. You've got to educate yourself. You've got to grow in knowledge. You've got to practice it. You got to commit to it, right? Okay. So it's what this means with excellence and integrity. When you possess these, really what's happening is you are basically, you're not about instant gratification or just personal satisfaction. Okay. So I equate that to basically living by the flesh and then being born again and living at a heavenly standard, which is by the spirit. Okay. Because when you do have that divine encounter, when you do have that real transformation on the inside, where you're given a new heart, where you're renewing your mind, where a right spirit is renewed in you, then you literally don't live the same way. No longer are you just about what your flesh wants and getting instant gratification and seeking your own pleasure and desires, not even aware of your impact on other people, but you are hyper aware, but in a good way about how you can actually devote time and quality to developing yourself, so you actually are a gift when somebody encounters you. Woo! You actually are light, okay, when somebody encounters you. So really what ethics and morality is, it's a mental attitude. It's just different mental attitudes that you have. It is also, let me see what I put here. So basically what you believe manifests how you behave, okay? And it's an integration of your words and behavior. So how we think, you've probably heard me say this before if you've watched me for a minute, but how you think in your mind affects how you start to feel, and kind of like the hole that you're digging. And then that affects how you behave. So if I'm thinking, oh man, today's going to be a really awful day. It's going to be so challenging for me to get through work, and there's so much that I got to do. I'm not going to get it done. I just don't even want to get out of bed. I just want to hit snooze. Then you're not building momentum. You're feeling low. You're feeling lethargic. You're feeling negative. You're feeling powerless. You're feeling hopeless. You're feeling completely unexpected about anything good happening in your life. So you're not motivated. You don't have joy. You don't have this courage. You don't have this sense of wonder and delight about life. And think about that. From there, how are you going to behave? You're probably going to show up slower. You might procrastinate. You might not get a lot done. You'll probably just have a mediocre day, if not worse, because you are probably going to get what you're focusing on. So you could have literally a day that manifests in agreement with what you thought when you first woke up. Huge. That's one of the reasons too why I love having quiet time in the morning. I seek him early, as the word says, seek him early and seek him diligently, and you will find him. I'm talking about God here. It's a big deal, because I know that if my mind left idle is going to go nuts. It's just part of the human experience. If you don't train it, it will grow weeds. It'll just get a little wild. All right. Okay. So integrity is the integration of your words and behavior. So when you speak words, you know that your mouth, right? Your mouth can literally speak blessings and cursings. The very mouth that can speak blessings can actually speak cursings as well. So you know that your words and what you speak is going to impact how you behave. You can literally call your soul into alignment with your spirit, okay? So here's the thing. If you are saying one thing and doing another, you're out of integrity. You're demonstrating that you don't possess ethics and morals. You're not living according to a standard. You're not reporting to anybody, right? And that can look pretty messy. Just think about that. Excellent people produce trust. They produce trust because people that match what they say with what they do consistently can be trusted. That creates this foundation, right, of knowing how, kind of just being able to anticipate how this person's going to show up, whether it's a good time, a bad time, something between. You have a sense based on their words matching their behavior, what they're going to do. And this goes down to something as simple as you say that you're going to meet somebody at 5:15 and maybe you even show up at 5:13, but your word matches how you behave. And it starts in the simple things. So that might seem silly to you, but you keeping your word is a huge deal that builds ethics. It builds morality. It builds this standard, right, of you keeping your word. of you operating according to a standard that is superior than how most people show up. And think about that. If you were going to hire somebody, who would you hire? The one that's consistent in keeping their word, the one whose behavior and character matches what they have on their resume, or the one that's late, the one that didn't turn in the resume, the one, right? Like, which one would stand out to you? Excellence causes you to stand out, and it's not extra work. You actually have to work a lot when you're not operating in excellence. You have to work to keep your story straight. You have to work to be creative about finding creative ways to cut corners. You have to work with figuring out what you said here versus what you're doing here. It gets messy, and that's actually more work to sustain. And it's all dependent on you, not the spirit in you. So that's pretty intense enough right there. All right, so that's a good one, isn't it? Okay, here's the other thing. That when you are operating in integrity and morals, you'll create the results, right, that you are focusing on. So basically, when you are constantly keeping your word, you're going to create integrity. All right. Number four, excellence, has a genuine respect for other people. Even if you don't agree with their leadership, you have a genuine respect for other people. So you value highly or place worth on another person. Okay. So you can really figure out where you're at with this by just asking, what are people to you? What are people to you? People know when you respect them and when you don't. You don't even have to say anything. People just know when you respect them and when you don't, okay? Number 5, enough said on that one. Number 5, go the second mile. Go the second mile. I am a runner at heart. I was not always. I got involved in running when I was in 7th grade, and we had to do, they called it a Teens High Life race, and it was all about getting teens off drugs or preventing them from getting started with drugs. And so we had to do some race for that. And then from there, I got recruited to be on a cross-country team, but I hated it. My strategy was to run as fast as I could just to get it over with. And I was able to achieve a lot because I just wanted to get it over with. But in the long run, that's not a good strategy because, again, my thoughts and how I approached it made it a not so fun experience. So I'd work on that. But going the second mile, when you know that you can just go one, you can see all the people that would stop before the first one's done on the first one. Not many will go that extra mile. Just think about it, because you know what it requires of you. But excellent people go the second mile. Excellence manifests in people that are not afraid to do their best. It just manifests from people that are not afraid to do their best. They just show up and they do their best. Okay? It's a responsibility that is greater than rights. So I know that I'm responsible for excellence. So I'm not worried about basically the other standard that people are holding me to or the way they're treating me. I'm going to operate in excellence regardless. All right? And it's always about giving more than you take from life. Like when you are living as an opportunist, which so many people are right now, when you are living as an opportunist, you are constantly looking for ways to get ahead. Who can help you? Who can give you your launch? Who can do this for you, right? But you're not even focusing on what you can give. And excellent people will always stand out, right? So when you're focusing on giving more than you get, then you're not in scarcity, you're not in lack, you're not in a poverty mindset. You're actually living from abundance. You're living from more than enough. And you experience that in your life too. And that's where most that are opportunists miss it, or they get it twisted, all right? So number 6 is excellent people are consistent. There is nothing more frustrating than an inconsistent person, especially if you're in a relationship with one, right? Like, you know, but there is nothing more frustrating than an inconsistent person. Somebody that doesn't keep their word, somebody that's not responsive when they committed to a time for a phone call, somebody that's acting one way, but then 24 hours later, they're a different person. There is nothing more frustrating than that. And it's dangerous, right? Because that kind of stuff can rub off on you. So you've got to watch who you're connected to. So How you do that is you really just focus on you. Again, you don't focus on other people. You're not comparing. You're not competing with other people. So you just set this higher standard for yourself. You can't expect that other people have the same heart as you or that they're going to live to the same standards that you value. They're not. That's something that, again, has got to come from within. It's not going to come from you pushing or you forcing that or you policing that or babysitting that. You've got to just take care of you. And those that are meant to be inspired by that will be inspired, okay? Now, here's the thing. People forget how fast you do a job, but never how good you do a job. They forget how fast you do something, but never how good you do it. So when you commit to excellence, you're going to get it right the first time. You're going to do your best. You're going to take the time that it needs to get it done. Even if that means longer hours to meet a deadline, you're still going to commit to that. You're not just going to get it done. All right. All right. Always do a job the best that you can. This is how you also prevent regret in your life, right? When you know better, you do better. But when you're always doing the best that you can, you're not caught up in thinking about how you could have done better or how you could have had a different experience. You're not caught up in thinking about that because you regret how you did. You actually did your best. And then you're thinking about, okay, how can I do this even better? So there's momentum that keeps you moving versus regret, which holds you back and weighs you down. All right. You manifest how you do this and being consistent. You manifest the excellence of your attitude in everything that you do. You manifest the excellence of your attitude in everything that you do. Okay? So you're not murmuring, you're not complaining, you're not venting, you're not speaking negative, dark things. You're just manifesting the excellence of your attitude in everything that you do. You probably have, in fairness, you probably have reason to be murmuring, be complaining, be doing all these things, but you refuse because you're committed to a lifestyle of excellence, okay? All right. All the time. You're excellent all the time. That's what it means. Consistency is all the time. So it's what you do privately is also how you show up publicly. You're not one person here, another person here, another person here, another person here. You're not cutting corners. You're not seeing what you can get away with. You are consistent all the time. Now remember this, particularly in relationship too. People can be good for a moment, even a few months, okay? But excellence is consistent all the time. It's not trying to impress. It's just a character quality, right, that's been developed. Okay, so this is big. Never ask God for something you're not willing to go after. Woo! Hit that. Come on, let that hit your spirit. Never ask God for something that you're not willing to go after. So never ask for that dream, never ask for that promotion, never ask for that relationship, never ask for that health and those results of exercise. Never ask for anything that you're not willing to go after. That investment, never ask for it if you're not willing to go after it. Because really what consistency is, it's faithfulness. And for me personally, it's faithfulness to God, because man will fail you, right? But who do you report to at the end of the day? Are you here to please people or are you here to please God, your creator? You got to decide. And who are you going to report to then? Who are you going to work unto? Do everything with excellence as unto the Lord, not man. All right. So consistency, the great thing about this, as a leader, consistency breeds consistency. So as you embody it, as you exemplify it, as you model the way, as you walk your talk, as you're consistent, right? In every season, that will breed consistency. Those that follow you will feel called to rise to a higher standard if you model the way. Okay. Number 7, never stop improving. You can't teach what you don't know, and you can't lead where you're not willing to go. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. All right. So you're never satisfied is what this means. All right. There's always more. There's always more. And that's not a addictive thing, right? That's just knowledge. That's just wisdom. There's always more. So you're always focusing on how you can get better, on what you can improve, on what you can learn, on more knowledge that you can gain. You're always developing yourself. It's the result of striving to be better. Okay. If you grow, This is the beautiful thing. And it's something that is particularly good if you can instill this in children when they're young. Okay. So it's kind of embracing failure, because there's no failure if you learn something, right? So if you have that attitude of that, you have that perspective, you can also recognize that if you grow, everything will get better. Everything will get better if you grow. If you stop growing, that's when things get worse. That's when you develop bad habits. That's when you develop addictions. That's when you develop inconsistency. That's when you settle, right? So it doesn't get better if you stop growing. All right, good leaders. Whew, good leaders manage people and develop systems. Manage leaders and develop systems. Great leaders develop people and manage systems. Oh my gosh, I hope that you caught this. Great leaders manage people and develop systems. All right, great leaders develop people and manage systems. So think about that. Which one are you? Are you just managing people and developing systems? Or are you developing people, right, and managing systems? Huge difference, especially when you're talking about experience, especially when you're talking about integrity, especially when you're talking about impact. If you're only managing people to a degree, you're not even respecting them. And again, people know when you don't respect them. People know when they're just a number, when they're just an employee. Are they being developed? Are you investing in them? Do you care about them? Do you value them, right? People know that. They know what that feels like experientially, okay? Whew. So when you stop learning, you start losing. When you stop learning, you start losing. So even you as a leader, let's say that you're in a management position and you know that there's no growth, there's no expansion, there's no position that you can rise to and excel to. You just know that there's not going to be any more development. You've got to recognize that if you stop learning, you're going to start losing. So you've got to just start investing in yourself elsewhere to the point where you can leave, or you just leave and you go somewhere where you can keep learning, because you can't let somebody else determine your future. You can't, particularly if it's a job that doesn't care about you. All right, or a relationship also. Number 8, always give 100%. Always give 100%. We think, I mean, you know those people that the minute it hits 5 p.m., who knows what it looks like when people work from home now, but the minute it hits that time where they can stop working, they probably stop at least 30 minutes before that. Or they're waiting for the lunch hour, or they're waiting for that time where they can leave. And that's not it. And there's really 4 types of people in life, and you can kind of see in your life who these people are. There's the cop-outs, there's the holdouts, there's the dropouts, and there's the all-outs. Which one are you is my question. All right, so you've got to pay the price to reach your goal. Now, cop-outs, holdouts, dropouts, they're not going to do that. All-outs will, though. So you got to see your work. I don't care what your work is. I don't care if it's working at a call center. I don't care if it's nannying. I don't care if it's house cleaning. I don't care if it's, working in the fast food industry. It doesn't matter what it is. Your work is always your signature. Nobody can do your work like you do. All right. You've got to hold it at that standard. Okay. Number 9, we're almost through. Ready? Number 9 is really that you've got to make what I've been talking about. You've got to make excellence a lifestyle. Otherwise, these things that I'm telling you just aren't going to happen naturally. They won't. So quality is never an accident, right? It's a decision, and it's a result of hard work. Your house isn't clean unless you're putting hard work into cleaning it, right? The care that you put into taking care of your things, that's never an accident. Your production, your work, your projects, your assignments, they never are successful unless there are decisions and hard work that backs them up. All right, so here's the thing. Mediocrity is a personal trait. Excellence is a choice. We all start the same place, right? but excellence is a choice. So people will see you. People will see you even if they've never heard you speak, even if they've never seen how you behave. They will see you. They will know who you are. Excellence is something that is felt and experienced, okay? All right. Now, a way to do this, again, because you're not competing against anybody, is you work to look good to yourself. You work to, because excellence looks good, it feels good, it never feels bad, ever. Excellence always looks good and feels good. So your goal is to look good to yourself, to be proud in everything that you're doing and everything that you're putting out, right? Who cares what other people are doing? You're focused on, am I proud of what I'm doing? Is this excellence? Where can I tweak it? Where can I shift it, okay? And if you can't do right, don't do it yet. Because the idea behind this thinking or this philosophy is that you only get one chance to make a lasting impression. You only get one chance to make a lasting impression. So prepare, study, do the work so that you can nail it, because you only get one opportunity to make that lasting impression. So a great thing to do would be to study class, and specifically first class, hopefully, right? But study class. What is class? How do you recognize somebody that has class? How do you recognize that? Study it. Even if you haven't experienced it, study it, because that's exposure in and of itself. You don't have to have known it or come from it, but you can study it, right? And the more you focus on it, the more you'll start to step into that and embody it, become that, okay? And then number 10, never compete with anybody but yourself. So never look at what other people are doing, particularly on social media. Don't even do it. Just use social media to post what you're inspired about and get off. Like, stop following all this other stuff if you can't handle it. All right? Excellence is competition with yourself only. You strive to compete against your mind, against your attitudes, against your heart position. You're constantly competing with, how can you do that better? How can you love more? How can you communicate better? How can you heal? How can you release that? How can you honor people better? How can you respect them more? How can you grow in more knowledge? How can you lead better? Like, you're always competing against yourself, and you will never be bored if you're doing that work, because there's always going to be something for you to develop. There's always a way to show up with more excellence. Always. Always. All right. So you strive to outdo yourself. You strive to outdo yourself, and that's actually fun competition, right? All right. And then you really cultivate what makes you an individual, and you're really paying attention to your attitudes, your standards, and your state of mind. Those are the things that make a huge difference no matter what season of life you find yourself in, no matter what conditions you're facing. Your attitude, your standards, and your state of mind greatly influence how you're going to show up and how you're going to grow or not. All right. So the real lesson out of personal excellence is that the goal here is that you want to be and become yourself. And the most excellent, most evolved, most clear, pure version of yourself. Okay. And as you help others discover and release themselves, you will find so much fulfillment. So you are life, and you're going to give life and really create life as you lead other people around you. So you can't do that, though, again, if you're not walking it out, if you're not practicing it, okay? So I hope that this is inspiring you to really get clear on the standards that you have, on the attitudes that you have, on the state of mind that you get comfortable living in who you surround yourself with, and what you're studying, and what you're becoming an expert in, and what you're devoting all of your hours to. I hope this is a wake-up call, because you want to stop sleepwalking through life. You want to be fully awake. You want to stay woke, as they say, right? So if you found this to be valuable, I would love to hear from you. Feel free to leave some comments below. You can also copy the link to this video and share it with a friend. And if you've not yet Make sure that you subscribe for more videos